I had a fight with the cold, aloof female CO. As soon as I stepped out, I was hit by a billboard and ended up in the ICU. When I woke up and saw the room full of luxury, I decided to play dumb and pretend to have amnesia to make her take care of me for half my life. Who are you? Beautiful? She froze for a second, her gaze instantly turning incredibly gentle. I'm your wife. We've been secretly married for 3 years. She immediately pulled out a black card and stuffed it into my clothes. It's okay if you can't remember. Sweetie, take this for your allowance and go shopping. The pin is your birthday. Watching her hand unbutton her collar, I swallowed hard. I wanted her money. She wanted to trick me for my looks. Should I take this easy ride or not? Just as I hesitated whether to reach for that card, she suddenly locked the hospital room door and pulled a pair of pink handcuffs from her bag. The doctor said some appropriate stimulation can help restore your memory. She smiled seductively and dangerously. Honey, let's play something exciting. My mind went completely blank in an instant, almost putting on a show of fainting again right then and there. Through blurred vision, I recalled the earth-shattering argument before I lost consciousness. The reason was simple. I had mistaken Ruby Lou's globally limited edition lipstick, one of only 8 in the world, for a crayon and used it to draw 7 SpongeBobs on her newly bought slippers. Her expression at the time looked as if she wanted to toss both me and the slippers into a shredder. But who was this woman before me? That affectionate gaze, that gentle tone. Had she been possessed? Ruby Lou leaned closer, her pleasant perfume scent wafting into my nose. Darling, does it still hurt? I instinctively shrank back, eyeing her warily. Auntie, we're not that close, I said deliberately, hoping to provoke her and expose her true colors. Under normal circumstances, she would have grabbed the nearest vase and hurled it at me, but she didn't. Instead, she bent down, fixed those beautiful eyes on me, and then kissed me. I was completely stunned. The soft sensation stifled all the curses I had ready to spew. After the third kiss ended, she licked her lips, her voice hoarse. Is it right now? Before I could snap out of my shock, she had already pulled a black card from her bag and stuffed it directly into the pocket of my hospital gown. Be good. The pin is your birthday. Spend as you like. I looked down at that legendary black card, my heart suddenly tightening. This wasn't a wife. This was a living bodhisattva, a god of wealth walking among mortals. Just as I was calculating how much cash I could withdraw from this card, Ruby Lou's actions sent a chill down my spine. From her Hermes bag, she leisurely pulled out a pair of pink, fluffy handcuffs. Honey, let's have some fun to help jog your memory. She waved the prop in her hand, smiling like a demoness ready to feast. I was so scared I nearly lost my memory for real. No, let's talk this out properly. I think my memory has mostly recovered. Oh really? Then call me wife and let me hear it. I looked at her approaching face, my survival instincts kicking into overdrive. Whiff. Knock. The hospital room door was tapped, and a nurse pushed it open. It's time for your dressing change. She looked at us, her expression a mix of shock and bewilderment. I wished I could vanish into thin air. Ruby Lou, however, calmly withdrew her hand. This is my husband's rehabilitation equipment. The nurse's expression grew even more indescribable. You city folks really know how to have fun. After the nurse left, I felt another layer of social death had been added to my record. Thinking quickly, I clutched my stomach. Honey, I need to use the bathroom. Ruby Lou raised an eyebrow. I'll help you. No need. I can manage. I scrambled off the bed and dashed to the bathroom, locking the door behind me. Plan successful. I'd bought myself some time to hide. The next second, Ruby Lou's icy voice came from outside the door. You have 3 seconds to come out on your own, or I'll have the bodyguards break it down. I immediately surrendered. 2 black-suited bodyguards hauled me out of the bathroom like a chicken and plopped me back onto the bed. Ruby Lou held a bowl of porridge, sitting by the bedside. Open your mouth, she said. I dared not refuse. After taking a sip, I exaggeratedly cried out, hot. She blew on the spoon and brought it to my lips again. I yelled, hot, once more. Ruby set down the spoon, took a sip of the porridge herself, then pinched my chin and pressed her lips to mine. Warm porridge was transferred into my mouth. My eyes widened as I stared at her face, so close I could count her lashes. She was going to be the death of me. By the time the bowl was empty, I was completely numb. I came to a profound realization. Going head-to-head with her wouldn't work. I had to change tactics, play along and stabilize the situation first. Once I've scammed enough to hit 100 million, I'll make my escape immediately. Just as I was secretly resolving this, Ruby's phone rang. She answered it, and her previously gentle expression instantly darkened. She hung up the call, turning to me with a smile. That grin sent chills down my spine. Honey, since you've lost your memory, let me take you to a familiar place. It'll give you a good jolt. The so-called familiar place was Ruby's luxurious penthouse on the top floor in the city center, so spacious you could host a sports meet there. As soon as I entered, 2 rows of servants bowed in unison, welcoming the young master home. For a moment, I thought I'd walked onto the wrong set. Was the next line supposed to be, all of you, dismissed? Ruby Lou led me into the walk-in closet. One entire wall was lined with custom-tailored suits, another with limited-edition sneakers. My eyes lit up. If I sold all of this, wouldn't my small goal of 100 million be instantly achieved? Do you like them? They're all yours. Ruby Lou hugged me from behind. I stiffly nodded. I like them. I really do. So much that I want to pack them up and take them away right now. At dinner, I stared at the table full of green dishes, and my face turned green too. Broccoli, bitter melon, okra. Is this even food for humans? I used to love eating these. I couldn't believe it. Yes, you said green is healthy. Ruby Lou piled a huge helping of celery onto my plate. I forced down a bite, nearly gagging. I want meat. Ruby Lou wiped the corner of her mouth, smiling meaningfully. Wanting meat is fine. I'll feed you tonight. I felt something was off about that remark, but couldn't quite put my finger on it. After finishing this reunion dinner, she took out a thick photo album. Let's look at some old photos to help you recover your memories. I glanced over and nearly died on the spot. In the photo, I was wearing floral swim trunks, grinning foolishly by the seaside with a piece of foxtail grass dangling from my mouth. In another photo, my face was painted like a calico cat while I slept like a log. Yet another showed me in childish dinosaur pajamas, being carried princess style by her. In every picture, I looked like a complete idiot. I began to seriously wonder if there was something wrong with my brain back then. See how affectionate we were. Ruby Lou pointed at the Princess Carrie photo. I looked at her slender arms, then at my own 6-foot-plus frame. Is this woman a monster? It's getting late. Time for a bath. She closed the album. I'll help scrub your back. I jumped in alarm, clutching my belt tightly. No need. I can wash myself. You're injured. It's not convenient. It's convenient. Very convenient. We engaged in a fierce tug-of-war at the bathroom door. She tried to enter while I desperately held my ground. As my foot slipped, I lost my balance completely and tumbled straight into her arms. My face buried itself where it shouldn't have. My mind went blank. Soft fragrance. Transformers. Optimus Prime transforming. Thump 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 thump. Ruby Lou's low chuckle sounded above my head. Darling, your body's reaction is much more honest than your brain. Just as the atmosphere was heating up and my belt was on the verge of giving way, the doorbell rang. I felt like I'd been granted a reprieve. Ruby frowned and reluctantly let me go. When we opened the door, a slick-haired, powdered man stood there holding 999 roses. Seeing me, he looked as if he'd seen a ghost. Ruby, why did you bring this idiot back? The visitor was Justin G., Ruby's #1 pursuer, a typical rich, oily second-generation heir who'd given me plenty of trouble before. He completely ignored me, gazing affectionately at Ruby. Ruby, these are Ecuadorian roses I air-shipped for you, representing my... I strolled over, plucked a flower from the bouquet, stuffed it into my mouth, and chewed. A bit tough, gets stuck in the teeth. Justin G's face instantly flushed crimson. You country bumpkin, is this something you can eat? I tilted my head, looking innocently at Ruby Lou. Honey, why can this beggar's chicken talk, and even bring its own garnish? Ruby Lou suppressed a smile and played along. This is Justin G., here to deliver fertilizer for our garden. Justin G. trembled with rage, pulled a check from his pocket, and flung it at my face. Take $1 million and leave Ruby. The check fluttered to the ground. I bent down, picked it up, glanced at the amount, then fished a lighter from my pocket. With a click, a flame sprang up, igniting a corner of the check. I used the flame to light a cigarette, took a slow drag, and exhaled. The fire's a bit weak. Got any more? Bring a few more checks. Justin G. was utterly dumbfounded. He'd probably never seen such an audacious freeloader. You dare burn my check. I slapped him backhanded. A solid, crisp smack across his face. Saw a mosquito couldn't resist. Occupational hazard. How dare you hit me? Justin G. roared, his face contorted with rage as he charged forward. My eyes rolled back, my legs gave way, and I instantly collapsed to the floor, my whole body convulsing. Oh no, my concussion is acting up again. My head is spinning so bad. I'm dying. While convulsing, I shouted to Ruby Lou. Honey, he hit me. Medical expenses, emotional distress compensation, lost wages, $1 billion. Justin G. froze in place, fist raised, unsure whether to strike or not. Ruby Lou's expression turned icy. She walked up to Justin G., looking down at him with a commanding presence. You frightened my husband, she said, her voice laced with bone-chilling coldness. 2 bodyguards entered from outside, dragging Justin G. and the fertilizer he'd brought along out together. Justin G. was hauled away by the arms, still cursing in frustration. The world was finally quiet. I scrambled up from the floor, dusting myself off. Honey, how was my performance? Any reward? I rubbed my hands together, hinting at that $1 million. Ruby Lou closed the door and advanced toward me step by step. The earlier warmth in her eyes was gone, replaced by an aggressive gleam. You acted quite well, she murmured, her fingers tracing my cheek, sending a shiver down my spine. As a reward tonight, she paused, leaning close to my ear, her hot breath tickling my neck. In the living room, Ruby Lou pinned me down on the sofa. looming over me with an intimidating presence. I trembled uncontrollably, feeling like a fish on a chopping board. "Darling, I'm thirsty and want some water." I tried to stall for time. Ruby Lou turned to pour a glass of water, and I breathed a sigh of relief, but she took a big gulp herself, then leaned down, gripped my chin, and poured the warm water into my mouth in an undignified manner. Any escape route was completely blocked. Thinking quickly, I suddenly sat up with a pained expression. I remembered, the doctor said I can't engage in strenuous activity, or I'll suffer brain damage and turn into an idiot on the spot. After hearing this, Ruby Lou sneered coldly. "No problem." She leisurely undid the first button of her blouse, revealing her delicate collarbone. "I'll do the moving. You just lie there." These words struck me like a thunderbolt, leaving me utterly shattered. To preserve my innocence, I began babbling nonsense, trying to calm her down with a mental assault. "I'll take the blame. You go face the danger. Reflect often on your own faults. In idle talk, avoid criticizing others. Carry on the legacy of past sages. Bring peace to the world." I even started reciting the General's Manifesto. I, a humble commoner, toiled in the fields of Nanyang. Ruby Lou watched my madness with keen interest, as if observing a monkey show. She undid the second button. I gulped nervously, feeling my psychological defenses crumbling inch by inch. This woman is a demon. Absolutely. As she was about to undo the third button, I unleashed my final trump card. I closed my eyes, mustered all my strength, and shouted with deep emotion, "Mom!" The atmosphere instantly fell into dead silence. Ruby Lou's hand, which had been unbuttoning something, froze midair, her face dark as a pot bottom. Am I that old? My survival instincts kicked into overdrive. I quickly opened my eyes to explain. "No, no, in my heart, you're like Mother Earth, embracing me, warming me, giving me new life." This flattery was so sycophantic it made even me want to vomit. Ruby Lou was so angry she laughed. The frost on her face melted away, and she suddenly hugged me tightly, burying her head deep in the crook of my neck. I caught the faint scent of her hair, my body stiffening, not daring to move a muscle. Her voice trembled slightly. "Don't leave me again, even if you're a fool. I want you." I froze. A warm, damp sensation spread on my neck. She was crying. This female demon actually cried. For the first time, I realized that behind all her crazy actions, she might truly love me. Just as this tender moment almost softened my heart. Ring ring. My phone chose the most inopportune moment to ring. Ruby Lou picked up her head, helped me take out my phone. On the screen, the caller ID displayed 4 glaringly bright characters. Rich lady no. 2 foot. The warmth on Ruby Lou's face vanished instantly without a trace. Her eyes darkened once again. "Husband, explain who this rich lady no. 2 is." A cold sweat broke out all over my body in an instant. Who the hell saved this contact name for me? It's going to be the death of me. This is an older sister who sells insurance. I blurted out, thinking quickly on my feet. She calls me every day, saying I have an extraordinary physique, a once-in-a-century candidate for insurance. I got so annoyed that I saved her contact with this name. Ruby Lou's expression was unreadable, showing neither joy nor anger. She took my phone, pressed the answer button, and even turned on the speakerphone. "Hello, Mr. This is X Insurance. I recommended the One Illness Sends You Back to Liberation package to you before. Have you considered it?" A cheerful older sister's voice came from the other end of the line. I let out a long sigh of relief, feeling as though I had just escaped from the gates of hell. Thank heavens. Ruby Lou hung up the phone and handed it back to me. Although the misunderstanding was cleared up, her expression told me that this matter wasn't over yet. "It seems I haven't been paying enough attention to you." She pinched my cheek. "Starting tomorrow, you'll come to work with me at the company, so I can keep an eye on you anytime." The next day, I was packed up and taken to Ruby Lou's company, the headquarters of the Ruby Group. As soon as I entered the main entrance, the receptionist nearly spilled her coffee in shock. I used to come often to bring her meals, and every time she'd look down on me and have security throw me out. Now, she was intimately holding my arm as we walked into the company, with every employee's gaze fixed on me like spotlights. Ruby Lou stopped in the center of the company lobby. Her voice wasn't loud, but it was enough for everyone to hear clearly. "Let me introduce everyone. This is my husband, Jackie. From now on, treat him as you would treat me." The entire hall fell silent. I felt like a monkey being paraded around on a leash, but I have to admit, it felt damn good. At the company's executive meeting, I shamelessly sat in the seat reserved for the CEO, with Ruby Lou right beside me. The executives were presenting their PowerPoints, while I was playing Candy Crush on my phone with the volume cranked up to the max. Thump, thump. It was simply unbelievable. The executives' faces turned green with anger, but they didn't dare say a word. I was having a great time when I suddenly pointed at a garish chart on the PPT and stopped. Everyone looked at me. "The color scheme on this chart is terrible. It's so ugly it looks like a pile of shit." The balding guy who made the PPT turned red in the face and was about to argue when Ruby Lou calmly said, "Listen to my husband." Everyone was floored. While I was relieving myself in the restroom, I overheard 2 employees gossiping outside. What's the deal with that pretty boy? He's got Ruby Lou completely spellbound. What else could it be? He's a freeloader, probably just good in bed. Hearing this, a plan formed in my mind. Since they all think I'm a pretty boy freeloader, I might as well make the most of it. I decided to use my position to skim a little off the top, adding to my escape fund. But when I logged into the financial system to transfer funds, I discovered that every operation requiring a verification code was linked to Ruby Lou's phone number. Just then, my phone vibrated. A message from Ruby Lou. If you want to transfer money, call me something sweet first. A few days later, an even bigger problem showed up. My mother-in-law, Ruby Lou's biological mother, a wealthy socialite dripping in jewels, made a surprise inspection. The moment she stepped through the door, her scrutinizing gaze swept over me from head to toe. I heard you lost your memory. I nodded obediently. She pulled a document from her bag and tossed it onto the table. This is the divorce agreement. Sign it. Just sign it. My eyes lit up. I took the agreement and looked. In the compensation amount column, it was clearly written, 5 million yuan. Excitedly, I picked up a pen, ready to sign my name. But Ruby Lou snatched the agreement away and tore it to shreds. Paper scraps fluttered down like snowflakes. My man is not for sale at any price, she said coldly, staring at her mother. My mother-in-law turned pale with anger but said nothing more. That evening, the Lou family hosted a banquet, with all sorts of celebrities gathered. I felt like a country bumpkin who had stumbled into high society. Midway through the banquet, my mother-in-law suddenly suggested with a smile, "Ah Chong, I heard you're quite talented. Why not play a piano piece to liven things up?" Me, play the piano? I can barely read sheet music. This old woman just wants to humiliate me in front of everyone. Ruby Lou was about to refuse, but I stood up boldly and said, "Sure." Under the watchful eyes of everyone anticipating a spectacle, I walked to the obviously expensive piano, took a deep breath to steady myself. Then I extended my hands and began wildly pressing the black and white keys. Ding dong, clang clang, honk honk, creating a noise pollution that echoed throughout the banquet hall. I titled this piece, Rhapsody of a Madman. The entire hall fell silent, with everyone staring at me as if I were a lunatic. After finishing my performance, I stood up and bowed with exaggerated seriousness. Thank you, everyone. This piece employs postmodern deconstructionist artistic techniques to express profound reflections on the impermanence of life. It's not something ordinary people can understand. Ruby Lou was the first to stand and applaud. That was brilliant. Honey, you're truly a genius. The guests had no choice but to reluctantly join in the applause, their expressions growing increasingly strained. Just then, that persistent nuisance Justin G appeared again, holding a wine glass. He approached me with a mocking smirk, putting on an act, playing the fool to grab attention. I picked up a glass of red wine from the nearby table and splashed it directly in his face. The wine dripped down his greasy hair, leaving him in a wretched state. Oops, sorry, my hand trembled. Must be a Parkinson's flare-up. I put on an innocent expression. My mother-in-law was so furious she clutched her chest, looking like she might faint. I quickly pulled a small bottle from my pocket, took out a white pill, and said, "Mom, don't get worked up. Fast-acting heart-saving pill." I considerately slipped a mint candy into her mouth. After the banquet, I stepped into the garden for some fresh air. Suddenly, I heard Ruby Lou and her mother arguing not far away. "Look at the man you've chosen. He's a complete lunatic. He's disgraced our Lou family. I like him, and that's all that matters." Ruby Lou's voice was icy. "He's obviously faking amnesia to deceive you. Can't you see that?" "I know." Ruby Lou's voice was soft, yet it exploded like a bomb in my ears. "Even if he's pretending, I still want only him." I froze in place, my blood running cold. She knew all along that I was faking it. I returned to my room in a daze, my mind a tangled mess. She knew I was pretending. So all that gentleness, all that intimacy before, was that just an act too? She was playing along with my performance. I decided to test her. In the middle of the night, I got out of bed and started pretending to sleepwalk. Barefoot, I paced the floor, muttering to myself, "Where's my Italian cannon? Bring it up and fire." Ruby Lou woke up from the noise. She didn't expose me, just gently led me back to bed and tucked me in. "Sweetie, we'll fire the cannon tomorrow. Sleep now." Her eyes in the darkness were full of amusement. The next day, I escalated. I used to hate cilantro the most. Even the smell made me nauseous. At breakfast, I deliberately picked up a huge clump of cilantro and stuffed it into my mouth, chewing vigorously. "Honey, this grass is delicious." Ruby Lou sat across from me, smiling as she watched. "If it's good, eat more." With tears in my eyes, I took another big bite. This woman, is her heart made of iron? "Honey, let's go to the amusement park." I suggested a place I would never have considered before, and Ruby Lou agreed without hesitation. Then, she rented out the entire amusement park. In that vast space, there were only the two of us. I felt less like I was there to have fun and more like I was inspecting my territory. In the haunted house, I pretended to faint from fright at a hanging ghost and fell right into the arms of a young woman dressed as a female ghost. The young lady was both beautiful and kind-hearted, even considering giving me CPR. Just as I closed my eyes to savor the moment, a sharp pain shot through my ear. Ruby Lou yanked me up like a rabbit. Is the ghost prettier, or am I? She asked with a forced smile. My survival instincts kicked in, and I blurted out, of course, you're prettier. When you're fierce, you're fiercer than a ghost. When you're beautiful, you're more beautiful than a ghost. The final stop was the Ferris wheel. As it rose to its peak, the night view of the entire city unfolded before us. The atmosphere was just right. Ruby Lou suddenly spoke up, her voice faint and distant. When exactly do you plan to regain your memory? My heart skipped a beat. Just as I was about to continue playing dumb, the Ferris wheel suddenly shook violently, then came to a halt. The lights went out, leaving us stranded midair. I fear nothing in this world except heights. My face instantly turned pale, cold sweat pouring down. I clung desperately to the railing beside me. What happened? Why did it stop? Ruby Lou was also surprised and was calling the staff on her phone. Looking down at the 100-meter drop beneath my feet, my legs felt weak. My breathing grew labored. Fear overwhelmed reason. I grabbed Ruby Lou's hand, my voice trembling. Ruby, I'm scared. I regretted it as soon as I said it. Ruby was my private term of endearment for her in the past. Ruby Lou hung up the phone and turned to stare at me intently. In the darkness, I couldn't see her expression clearly, but I knew I'd given myself away. The Ferris wheel malfunction was quickly resolved. After that, a strange understanding formed between us. I stopped playing dumb, and she stopped pressing for answers. Life seemed to return to normal, yet something felt different. The good times didn't last long. Ruby Lou's company ran into trouble. That guy Justin G somehow got hold of the commercial secrets of Ruby's corporation, teamed up with several shareholders, and planned to stage a coup at the board meeting. Ruby Lou went days and nights without sleep, completely exhausted. In the end, she fell ill with a persistent high fever, lying in bed delirious while clutching my hand tightly and refusing to let go. Looking at her flushed face from the fever, my heart was a whirlwind of mixed emotions. With the company leaderless, the shareholders' WeChat group was in an uproar. Justin G was strutting around in the chat, gloating triumphantly. I sighed. In the end, it still fell to me, the so-called kept man, to step up. I put on the custom-tailored suit Ruby had bought me, dressed to the nines, and stormed into the company, with a fake seal-eyed card from a radish for $10 on the roadside in hand. At the shareholders' meeting, Justin G was ranting and raving about Ruby's alleged wrongdoings, urging everyone to oust her as chairwoman. I kicked the conference room door open. Who dares touch my wife? Everyone was stunned into silence. Justin G was the first to react. You're just a freeloader. What right do you have to be here? Ignoring him, I pulled out my phone, opened the live stream, and announced, folks, hit follow in the top left corner. Today I'm broadcasting a live power struggle in a wealthy family. Double tap 666. My friends, the shareholders were stunned. I walked to the head seat, sat down, and crossed my legs. Uncles and elders, my wife is unwell, so I'm here to attend the meeting on her behalf. Who supports? Who opposes? A bald shareholder stood up. Who do you think you are? Why should we listen to you? I took out my phone and played a recording. A sweet conversation between the bald shareholder and his mistress. Director Wong, I assume you wouldn't want this recording to reach the tigress at home, would you? Director Wong's face instantly turned beet red, and he obediently sat back down. I then turned to Justin G. Justin, I heard you lost $300 million in Macau a few days ago and even embezzled company funds. I revealed the phone conversation I'd accidentally overheard while pretending to have amnesia. Justin G's face went pale, and he fled in panic. The remaining shareholders exchanged uneasy glances, not daring to utter another word, mainly terrified of this unpredictable madman who played by no rules. After handling everything, I went home ready to claim credit from Ruby Lou. Pushing open the team room door, I found she was already awake, leaning against the bed, watching my live stream replay on a tablet. She was grinning from ear to ear. Seeing me enter, she crooked a finger at me. I walked over, and she pulled me onto the bed, hugging me tightly. You did well, hubby, she whispered in my ear. As a reward, let's have a baby. In response to Ruby's reward, I decided to go out and buy some kidney dishes to nourish myself. But just as I left the residential area, a van pulled up beside me. The door slid open. A sack dropped from above, covering my head, and I was dragged into the vehicle by several pairs of hands. This plot, how can it be so melodramatic? I was taken to an abandoned warehouse. The sack was yanked off, and I saw the kidnapper's face. It was Justin G, desperate after his bankruptcy. His expression twisted, nearly insane. Call Ruby Lou, tell her to bring $5 billion to ransom you. He had two burly men beside him who didn't look too bright. I calmly flexed my wrist. The rope was tied a bit too tight by the big guy, affecting my blood circulation. I said to one of the burly men, I have a membership card for a massage parlor, can get you a discount, I'll give it to you later. The burly man was stunned. I then looked at Justin G. $5 billion? He's practically down to his last pair of underwear. Where's he going to get the money to pay you? Listen to me, you'd be better off working for me. I began analyzing the current economic situation for the two burly men. teaching them how to manage their finances and invest in funds. I spoke with such eloquence that they were left utterly bewildered. Justin G was hopping mad. Don't listen to his nonsense. I'm the boss here. Half an hour later, Ruby Lou arrived with her bodyguards and kicked open the warehouse door. The scene before her left her stunned. I was sitting with the two kidnappers playing cards, while Justin G was tied up and tossed in a corner, my smelly sock stuffed in his mouth. Seeing Ruby Lou, I excitedly waved the few bills in my hand. Honey, I won $50. Let's add an extra dish for dinner tonight. On the way home, the atmosphere in the car was quiet. Ruby Lou suddenly stopped the car at an intersection, pulled a document from the glove compartment, and tossed it to me. Stop pretending, she said, her voice eerily calm. This is your latest medical report. The doctor says there's absolutely nothing wrong with your brain. You're perfectly healthy. My heart sank. My last shred of hope vanished. Right then and there, I performed a dramatic slide onto my knees, the motion fluid and seamless. Wife, I was wrong. I deserve to die 1,000 deaths. I shouldn't have lied to you. Clutching her legs, I began to weep and wail with remorse. Instead of getting angry, Ruby Lou looked even more excited. Keep acting, she said, pinching my chin and forcing me to look up. I really liked that aloof, talkative version of you from before. I was completely stunned. It turned out that 3 years ago, Ruby Lou had fallen in love with me at first sight, but with her tsundere personality and social anxiety, she didn't know how to express it, so she used some business tactics to force me into marrying her. After marriage, she wanted to be good to me, but she always maintained that icy, domineering facade, leading to deeper misunderstandings between us. This time, when I was smashed into the ICU, she was terrified. Seizing the chance of my amnesia, she decided to completely let go and, in her own way, bind me firmly to her side. I recalled all the past incidents. Turns out her aloofness was all an act. Deep down, she's just a love-starved, intensely possessive madwoman. Then, about that black card you gave me, I asked with a last shred of hope. Oh, that's an authorized user card. I set a limit. How much? 2,000. I nearly spat out a mouthful of old blood. Didn't you say I could spend freely? Yes, she said with an innocent face. Within 2,000, you can spend as you like. Mainly, I wanted to see you desperately trying to please me for money. It's very cute. I felt like I'd taken tons of damage. All the barriers between us were torn down, with no more pretense or testing, leaving only our most authentic selves. Just as we were about to engage in some deep communication to strengthen our marital bond, I suddenly felt nauseous, covering my mouth as I dry heaved. Ruby Lou's eyes instantly lit up, brimming with delight. Honey, do you really have? I looked at her expressionlessly. I'm a man. To fully integrate me, this madly praised husband, into the Lou family. Ruby Lou took me to the annual family ancestral worship ceremony. All the relatives were gathered, each staring at me with looks full of contempt and anticipation for a spectacle. Dressed in the oversized shorts and flip-flops Ruby Lou had specially approved, I stood out like a sore thumb among the crowd of relatives in suits and formal attire. Ruby Lou's uncle spoke with a sarcastic tone. Ruby, I don't mean to criticize, but our Lou family has a reputation to uphold. How could you end up with such an embarrassment? I walked over, pulled a POS machine out of my pocket, and said, 500 per sentence, card or scan. The uncle was stunned. I then began to debate the entire crowd, airing all the dirty laundry of the aunts and uncles, whose husband was keeping a mistress, whose son was caught cheating on exams. The entire ancestral hall was thrown into chaos by my antics, with relatives left speechless and their faces turning ashen. Ruby Lou stood by my side, her eyes sparkling like stars as she watched me defend her. I cleared my throat and declared to everyone, let me tell you, turning a soft job into a tough one is a skill in itself. You all wish you had the chance but don't. From now on, anyone who dares bully my wife is crossing me. Jackie. In the end, I even used my own twisted logic to help the Lou family resolve a long-standing equity dispute. Even my mother-in-law, who had always looked down on me, changed her gaze. Though he's a bit off his rocker, he sure knows how to protect his own, she muttered under her breath. From that moment on, I, Jackie, officially established my position in the Lou family, second only to one, above all others. Back home that evening, Ruby took out a new agreement from the bedside drawer. This is the deed to all my assets. Sign it, she said, handing me the pen. The money is all yours. You belong to me. I stared at the asset transfer document that could make the global economy tremble, fell silent, then tore it up under Ruby Lou's astonished gaze. Money is safest with you. I gently tapped her nose. I'm afraid if I took the money, I wouldn't be able to resist buying a full set of Gold Saints armor and Ultraman. Ruby laughed at my antics, but her eyes grew misty as she held me tight. She said she'd give me a whole soccer team. A year later, in the conference room of Ruby Group, I was holding my 1-year-old son while conducting a meeting with executives. During his first birthday tradition, my son reached out and grabbed the secret stash of cash I'd hidden in my pocket. Ruby pushed the door open, smiling as she confiscated my private funds, then planted a kiss on my cheek as a reward. Life seemed to have found its perfect balance. One time, I saw Justin G begging on the street, ragged and gaunt. I walked over and handed him a recruitment flyer. Don't say I never helped a brother out. My place still needs a security guard for the front gate. I've always held to a personal philosophy. With a thick enough skin, there's no wife you can't win over. With enough acting skills, there's no soft rice you can't enjoy. Under the setting sun, I sat on the sofa in Ruby Lou's office, peeling grapes and feeding them to her as she handled documents. Life was peaceful and content, with the occasional bit of madness. This soft rice truly was delicious.